They said Grandma Imma was just old and confused, but the truth was darker. She was being erased. Then a giant dog with scars walked into her life, refused to leave her side, and exposed the one person secretly planning her death. The rain didn't fall gently that night. It crashed, like the sky was angry at the earth. Kofi Mensah tightened his jacket around his shoulders and stared at the old bungalow by the sea. The house looked like it was tired too. Paint peeling, windows foggy, the porch light flickering like it didn't have the strength to stay alive. He checked the note in his pocket for the third time, even though he already memorized it. Watch my mother. She's old and confused. Do not let her sign anything. Do not let strangers close to her. And do not let her leave this house. Caleb Carter. Kofi frowned. He'd worked security for years. VIPs, banks, private estates. But this felt strange. Old and confused, Kofi muttered. Or old and inconvenient? The wind pushed salt air into his lungs. The sea behind him roared like a beast. Kofi walked up the porch steps and knocked. Once, twice, 3 times. Nothing. He leaned closer, trying to hear movement inside. Still nothing. Then, faintly, a voice. Dry, sharp, tired. If you've come to take the house, come tomorrow. I'm tired today. Kofi froze. He swallowed and raised his voice gently. Nah, I'm not here for your house. My name is Kofi. Your son sent me. Silence. Kofi thought maybe the woman had gone back to sleep. But then the door opened. Only a crack. One eye stared out at him. An eye that didn't belong to a helpless old woman. It was the eye of someone who had once controlled classrooms and raised children like soldiers. Mrs. Imogen Imma Carter, 89 years old. Her gray hair was wrapped in a scarf. Her face was lined like old paper, but her gaze still cut like a blade. My son did not send anybody, she said coldly. My son forgot I exist. Kofi forced a small smile. Maybe he's busy. Imma laughed. Not happily, not warmly. Busy for 7 years? That line hit Kofi like a slap. Before he could respond, she started closing the door. Then it happened. A growl rose behind Kofi, low, deep, angry. Not human, not normal. Kofi turned slowly. The rain blurred his vision, but he could still see the shape near the fence. A massive black silhouette. It didn't look like a dog. It looked like a lion. The animal stepped close into the porch light, revealing thick, wet fur, scar lines across the snout, and eyes that burned like coals. Kofi's hand moved instinctively toward his baton. Emma's breath caught. Oh no, she whispered. Not again. Kofi glanced at her. You know that dog? Imma didn't answer immediately. Her fingers gripped the door edge so hard her knuckles went pale. That, she said, voice shaking, is the devil's dog. The giant dog stopped near the porch steps, staring at them like it was measuring their souls. Kofi's heart hammered. The dog had something hanging from its neck. Kofi squinted. A broken chain, still attached like a curse, meaning someone kept that dog chained once, maybe for years. The dog took one step closer. Kofi stepped forward, ready to block it. But then the dog did something no one expected. It sat, quietly, still, like it was waiting for permission. Imma stared at it, as if seeing a ghost. Brutus, she whispered. Kofi blinked. Brutus? You named it. Emma's eyes didn't move from the dog. I didn't name him, she said softly. He belonged to someone who hurt people. Kofi looked back at Brutus. A fighting dog. Or worse. And yet, the dog didn't look hungry for blood. It looked watchful, like it was guarding. Emma's voice dropped lower. That dog came here the night my husband died. Kofi's skin tightened. What do you mean? Imma swallowed. My husband went outside that night and never came back. Kofi's spine tingled. Outside, the wind screamed through the trees. And Brutus, sitting motionless, stared at Imma like he was waiting for her to understand something. Kofi spoke carefully. Ma, why would a dog come here the night your husband died? Emma's lips trembled. Because he didn't come alone. Kofi stared at her. Who came with him? Emma's breath shook like a confession. The men who did it. Before Kofi could ask more, Brutus stood suddenly and walked toward the door. Kofi stepped in front again, but Imma raised her shaking hand. Let him come. Kofi hesitated. Ma. Let him come, she repeated, stronger this time. Brutus reached her. Instead of snapping, he lowered his head and pressed it gently against her palm, like an apology, like a promise. Emma's eyes widened. Then she broke. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Silent tears she'd probably held for years. Why are you here, Brutus? She whispered. Why now? Brutus looked up, and Kofi finally saw it. A small tag tied to the chain. Not old, not rusted, fresh, clean, as if someone attached it today. Kofi leaned in, reading the word engraved on it. His stomach dropped. The tag said only one word. Return. Kofi looked at the dog, then at the old woman, and suddenly he understood. Brutus didn't return for love. He returned because something was coming back too. Something dangerous. Imma whispered, trembling, if you came back, it means the darkness is near again. And outside in the storm, somewhere beyond the fence, a car engine started. Kofi didn't sleep that night. Not after hearing what Mrs. Imma said. Not after seeing the return tag. He sat in the living room, a flashlight. The rain tapping the windows like fingers try to get in. Brutus lay at the doorway, huge body blocking it like a living wall. Every few minutes, the dog lifted his head, ears twitching, listening. Kofi had met guard dogs before, but Brutus wasn't guarding a house. He was guarding a person. Imma brought 2 cups of tea and set one on the table. Her hand shook slightly. You're still here, she said. Kofi nodded. Yes, Ma. Imma sat across from him. Why? Kofi didn't know how to explain, so he told her the truth. Because I don't think your son sent me to protect you. Emma's eyes narrowed. Then why did he send you? Kofi pulled out the note. This message. Do you recognize his handwriting? Imma stared at it. Her face slowly tightened. No. Kofi's heart sank. Then someone forged it. Imma breathed out slowly. Or he lied. Kofi leaned forward. Ma, tell me about your son. Imma stared into her tea, like the cup contained the past. Caleb used to be kind, she said. As a boy, he'd sit by my feet while I marked papers. He'd beg me to tell him stories. She smiled faintly. Then the smile died. After his father died, he changed. Kofi's voice softened. How? Emma's face hardened. He stopped coming. She looked up. He didn't even attend the memorial. Kofi's stomach twisted. He didn't. Imma shook her head. He called once. Said he was busy. Her voice cracked like old wood. Busy while I buried his father alone. Silence filled the room. Even the rain sounded quieter. Then Imma stood and walked to a drawer. She pulled out a thick envelope and dropped it on the table. These started coming after a year, she said. Kofi opened it. He felt his blood go cold. Inside were legal documents, property transfer papers, power of attorney forms, agreements written in complicated language designed to confuse an elderly mind. Kofi looked up. Ma, have you signed any of these? Imma shrugged like it didn't matter. I was going to. Kofi nearly stood up. What? Why? Emma's eyes flashed with pain. Because I'm old, she said. Because I'm tired. Kofi's voice became firmer. You're not tired. You're lonely. Imma slammed her hand on the table. Lonely I.S. tired, young man. Her voice filled the room like thunder. Brutus lifted his head instantly. Imma swallowed, lowering her voice again. They say loneliness is just emotion, she whispered. But it's not. It's death. Kofi didn't interrupt. Imma continued. Every morning I wake up and the house is silent. I cook, but nobody eats. I talk, but nobody answers. She stared at the window. I started wishing my heart would stop without making a sound. Kofi felt his throat tighten. Ma. Imma wiped her face. That's why I almost signed. I thought, if he takes everything, at least it means he remembered I exist. Kofi's eyes burned. This wasn't just a story. It was real. And Brutus was the only living thing that had returned. Kofi exhaled. We will not let him take anything. Imma stared at him. You don't even know me. Kofi stood. I know what neglect looks like. Imma's eyes softened slightly, like her heart wanted to trust but didn't know how. That afternoon, Kofi went to Officer Teo. Teo was a tough-looking policeman with eyes that missed nothing. Kofi handed him the documents. Teo flipped through them, jaw tightening. Your son is not protecting her, Teo muttered. He's preparing to erase her. Kofi leaned closer. What do you mean? Officer Teo lowered his voice. That kind of paperwork, it's not just greedy. He looked up. It's premeditated. That night, the storm returned. Imma was in her bedroom. Kofi stayed in the hallway. Brutus positioned himself by the back window. Then suddenly, Brutus sprang up and barked violently. Not playful barking. War barking. Kofi ran to window. He saw movement near the back garden. A shadowy figure. Then a car door slammed. An engine roared away into the rain. Kofi grabbed his flashlight and ran outside. The grass was soaked. His shoes sank into mud. He searched and found something near the bushes. A small object. He lifted it. His hands went cold. A syringe needle. Empty. Kofi rushed back in, slamming the door. Imma stood trembling in the hallway. What happened? Kofi held the syringe. Someone was here. Imma's face turned pale. To rob. Kofi shook his head. No. His voice dropped. To drug you. Imma clutched her chest like her heart might jump out. No. Kofi grabbed his phone and called Officer Teo. Someone tried to drug her tonight. Teo's voice hardened through the speaker. Then the next visit won't be quiet. Kofi whispered, You think her son? Officer Teo interrupted. I'm saying this clearly. Kofi, the danger is close. And the one who wants the house may also want the woman gone. Kofi hung up slowly. Imma stared at him. My son wouldn't, she whispered. But Brutus didn't stop growling. It was low, steady, like a warning from the deepest part of hell. And then the front gate creaked. Kofi spun around. Someone was entering. Kofi stepped forward, heart pounding. Brutus rushed past him like a black storm. The porch light flickered again, and then the gate opened fully. A man stepped in. Tall, clean, expensive clothing. A smile that looked practiced, like it had been worn so many times it no longer meant anything. Caleb Carter. Behind him, a woman stood quietly, holding a handbag and looking like she wanted to disappear. That was Lydia Carter. Imma, standing in the doorway, stared at the man as if he wasn't real. Caleb, she whispered. Caleb spread his arms wide like a movie scene. Mother, his voice was warm, too warm. He stepped forward quickly. Imma didn't move. Brutus moved. The dog stepped between them and let out a low growl, so deep it shook the wood of the porch. Caleb froze. His smile twitched. What the hell is that dog doing here? Kofi stepped out. Sir, I'm Kofi. You hired me. Caleb blinked like he didn't recognize him. I hired you. Kofi nodded. Yes. You sent a message. Caleb cut him off sharply. I sent no message. The air went cold. Imma's lips parted. Caleb turned to her fast, voice switching back to sweetness. Mother, you shouldn't open the door to strangers. Imma's eyes narrowed. Strangers, she repeated. You haven't stood on this porch for 7 years, and you call him a stranger? Caleb's smile stiffened. I was busy. Imma laughed bitterly. Busy while I buried your father alone? Lydia flinched. Caleb's face darkened for a second before he forced a smile back. Let's not do this in the rain. He stepped forward again. Brutus growled louder. Caleb's eyes flashed with anger. That dog has to go. Imma's voice became sharp. No. Caleb stared at her, like she insulted him. Mother, don't start. You're confused. Imma moved forward, and for the first time, Kofi saw the old teacher in her fully. She wasn't weak. She was wounded, but still standing. I may be old, she said slowly, but I am not confused. Caleb turned to Kofi, voice low. How much is she paying you? Kofi clenched his jaw. Sir, I'm here because of your instruction. Caleb's eyes narrowed. No, he said firmly. I sent someone else. Kofi felt his skin tighten. Someone else. Caleb leaned closer like a snake. Yes, someone loyal. That was when Lydia spoke for the first time. Her voice was small. Caleb, stop. Caleb snapped his head toward her. Not now, Lydia. She flinched again. Kofi noticed something. The fear. The way Lydia's hands trembled. She wasn't here willingly. Caleb looked back at Imma. Mother, I came to help you. Imma's eyes burned. You came to help yourself. Caleb pulled papers from his bag. Just sign. It's for your protection. Imma stared at the papers and then at him. Protection from what? From being alive. Caleb's smile vanished. Sign it. His voice cracked like thunder. Imma stepped back, shocked. Kofi stepped forward. Sir, you will not speak to her like that. Caleb's gaze swung to Kofi. You're a security guard. Stay in your place. Brutus barked suddenly, stepping closer. Caleb stumbled back. Get that dog away from me. Imma whispered, trembling. Brutus. The dog stared at Caleb like he recognized him, and Caleb stared back like he recognized Brutus too. A terrible connection hanging between them. Kofi realized it. Brutus wasn't random. Brutus was tied to Caleb's darkness. Lydia moved closer to Imma and whispered in her ear. Ma, please don't sign anything. Imma turned, surprised. Lydia's eyes filled with tears. He's not here to help you. Imma's face froze. What do you mean? Lydia swallowed, voice shaking. He wants the house. He wants the land. And if he can't get it signed. She looked toward Caleb with terror. He'll do something else. Imma's heart pounded. Caleb wouldn't. Lydia's tears fell. Ma, you don't know him anymore. That night, Kofi stayed awake again. Caleb and Lydia were in the guest room. Imma locked herself in her bedroom, shaken. Brutus lay outside her door like a wall. Then Kofi heard it. A voice. Caleb, on the phone. Tomorrow she signs, Caleb whispered. If not, we do it the other way. Kofi's blood froze. The other way? Kofi stepped carefully toward the hallway corner. Caleb's voice continued. Yes. Quiet. No witnesses. The sea takes many secrets. Kofi's stomach dropped. He leaned closer. Caleb chuckled. And that stupid dog, if it becomes a problem, we remove it first. Kofi backed away silently. His heart slammed. This wasn't just property theft. This was murder planning. And now Kofi knew something else. Caleb wasn't just greedy. He was dangerous. Then Kofi saw it. Through the crack of Caleb's door. Caleb held a small bottle in his hand. Clear liquid. Poison. Kofi whispered to himself. Oh, God. And Brutus, as if sensing it, growled from Imma's door. The next day, the sky was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that comes before disaster. Imma sat at the dining table. Caleb placed the papers before her like a judge. Sign. Imma stared at the paper. No. Caleb's face tightened. Mother, don't be difficult. Imma looked him dead in the eye. I raised you. I know your face. I know when you're lying. Caleb's smile returned, slow and cold. Then you should know I don't like hearing no. Kofi stood by the wall, silent, watching, waiting. Lydia sat opposite, hands clenched under the table. Imma pushed the papers away. Take them, she said. I would rather die than hand you what your father built with his sweat. Caleb's eyes hardened. Fine. He stood. Tea then. He moved toward the kitchen. Imma frowned. Since when you make tea? Caleb didn't answer. Kofi's heart slammed. He followed. In the kitchen, Caleb poured tea. Then he pulled out the small bottle. Kofi saw it clearly. Poison. Kofi lunged. But Caleb turned quickly, whispering sharply. Move, and I'll scream that you attacked me. Kofi froze. Caleb smirked. You think anyone believes a guard over a son? Kofi's fist clenched. Caleb stirred the tea calmly. Then he carried it to Imma, placing it gently like a loving son. Drink, mother. Imma stared at the cup. Her hands trembled. Brutus appeared in the doorway silently. His eyes locked onto the cup. The dog's body stiffened. Imma lifted the tea slowly. Then Brutus exploded forward. He knocked the cup out of her hands. Tea splashed on the floor. The cup shattered. Caleb jumped up. "What?" Brutus barked furiously, standing between Caleb and Imma. Imma gasped, realizing. "Caleb," she whispered. Caleb's face twisted into rage. "That dog is a problem." He grabbed a chair and swung. Kofi rushed in, tackling him. They crashed to the ground. Lydia screamed. Caleb punched Kofi hard. "She's mine. The land is mine." Kofi punched back. "You're a monster." Brutus growled, snapping near Caleb, but not biting, like he was warning. Caleb scrambled back, panting. Imma's voice shook as she stood, staring at him like he was a stranger. "You tried to poison me." Caleb stared at her. Then, unbelievably, he smiled. "I gave you life," he said. "I can take it." Lydia broke. "Caleb, stop." Caleb turned and slapped Lydia so hard she fell. Imma screamed, "Don't touch her." At that moment, sirens cut through the air. Officer Teo arrived with 2 officers, guns raised. Everyone down. Caleb froze. Kofi pointed. "He has poison. He planned to kill her." Officer Teo grabbed Caleb and slammed him into the wall, cuffing him. Caleb shouted as they dragged him out. "You're choosing a dog over your son?" Imma stepped forward slowly, voice quiet but deadly. "No." She looked him in the eyes. "I'm choosing love over greed." Caleb laughed bitterly as he was taken away. "Enjoy your dog, mother." Imma watched him go, and then her knees buckled. Kofi caught her. Brutus whined softly and rested his head on her chest, like he was checking if her heart still beat. Imma stroked his fur and whispered, "You saved me." Days passed. The town heard the story. People visited. Neighbors brought food. And for the first time in years, Imma's house was not silent. Officer Teo helped Imma freeze her assets and rewrite her will. Lydia returned often, apologizing. Imma held her hands gently. "You were trapped too," Imma said. Lydia cried. "I didn't know how to escape." Imma smiled. "Now you do." In her new will, Imma left half of her estate to a foundation for elderly care, half to an animal rescue shelter, and a special fund dedicated to Brutus. Kofi sat on the porch with her one evening. The sea was calm now. Brutus lay at their feet peacefully. Imma sighed. "I used to teach children." Kofi smiled. "And you still do." Imma laughed softly. "This dog taught me something too." Kofi leaned closer. "What, Ma?" Imma looked at Brutus with watery eyes. "Sometimes the one people fear," she stroked Brutus's head gently, "is the one that saves you." She turned toward the sea. "And sometimes the real monster is the one who smiles." Brutus lifted his head, staring into the distance, as if making sure the darkness stayed gone. And for the first time in a long time, Imma felt safe, not because her son returned, but because love did, in the form of a giant dog with scars, and a heart bigger than the ocean. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you.